Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to our workshop on overcoming imposter syndrome and fear of procrastination. I'm super stoked to take you through our learning today. And it's designed to be interactive, so a dialogue rather than just a monologue. I want you to feel welcome to engage with us in the chat, raise a hand if something comes up that you'd like to share, and know that this is designed for you to take away some nuggets that you can use for yourself, inshallah. We're going to start with a powerful statement that I heard earlier this week from a speaker and coach, Tiwalola Adebayo. She says, imposter syndrome is short-term memory loss. As I sat in a room full of incredible, powerful women earlier this week, and Tiwalola made that statement, it sent a cascade of jingles through my body because it made me remember and recall times when I felt like an imposter in certain rooms, in certain spaces, in certain scenarios that I was in. And it took me back to the thoughts that were in my mind in those times. What do we typically tell ourselves when we feel like an imposter? We tell ourselves we don't belong. We tell ourselves it should be someone else. We tell ourselves that we don't deserve to be there. We tell ourselves story upon story upon story that can lead us to forget the truth of who we are and who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us as. Imposter syndrome convinces you that you don't have what it takes. It convinces you that you're not up to the task. It convinces you that you're not a real writer. And this is a space designed for writers today, that you're not a real writer, or in any other sphere that it might show up, you're not a real whatever it is, a real speaker, a real coach, it convinces you to forget that it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who chose you. Convinces you to forget that it was Allah who planted the seed of inspiration, motivation, idea within you. It convinces you to forget who truly placed you in that sphere, in that role, in that position, because it wasn't ever you. And the thing about imposter syndrome is that it will stack evidence upon evidence upon evidence to make the lie seem true, to make it seem as if it is true that you don't belong. It is true that you're not up to the task. It is true that you don't deserve to be in that position or have that opportunity. Imposter syndrome will present evidence as if it is true. And then we have its sister, fear of rejection, who plays tag team with imposter syndrome. Sometimes they're both active at the same time, but sometimes one will check out and one will check in. And similar to its sister, fear of rejection centers the view of others, especially those you know, family, friends, and sometimes also critics and reviewers. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? Am I truly good enough? Am I truly good enough for this task? It casts a shadow of doubt on your capabilities, on your experiences, on your voice, on the story you have to tell, on what you have to bring, on the value of who you are and all that Allah has embedded and placed within you. Just like its sister, fear of rejection will cause you to question your enoughness, whether you're smart enough, eloquent enough, good enough, knowledgeable enough. enough. Now, the thing with both of these, fear of rejection and imposter syndrome, is they cause us to forget, and they also center the ego. They center you. Through experiencing and living in and believing fear of rejection and imposter syndrome, we lose sight of three things. Number one, our foundational why. Why are we writing? Why are we putting words onto paper to put it out into the world? Why is it that we feel compelled to tell a story, to put a book together, to bring to life what may have been forgotten by others? Why? What's the deep core purpose of that? It causes us to also lose sight of the fact that it never came through us in the first place. And it also causes us to forget and robs us of sincerity and being sincere in this. And this leads us to procrastinate. And this can even look like active procrastination, and something I am very wary of, where we can sometimes procrastinate by doing something else rather than the thing that we're meant to be doing. So active procrastination can look like researching and researching and researching and continuing to research without actually putting words onto paper for the project that you're working on. Does anyone identify with the active procrastination? Put it in the chat if it's a you know, where you say, oh, I just need to find out more. I just need to learn more. I just need to research a little bit more. I need to fact check a little bit more. This is active procrastination. This is where you're avoiding doing the work by doing other work that seems to be part of the work, but it's really just avoidance in a mask and disguise, right? But it feels like you're doing the work. You can justify that, but I am doing something towards this project, but you're not doing what you know you really should do. The thing that you're avoiding, you know, you're avoiding for real from doing, right? We have in the chat, yes, I find myself doing other things instead of working on my book. Yes, other things suddenly become more important, suddenly urgent, right? Things become urgent all of a sudden. This is active procrastination. I love the word procrastinate. And the reason why we actively procrastinate is that we will seek to control. You see, fear of rejection and imposter syndrome lead us to feel like we're out of control. We don't have control over what people think. We don't have control over what people will say. We don't have control over how people will and do perceive us and our writing and what we're putting out there. And if it's eloquent, if it's flowery, if it's deep, if it's motivational, if it's whatever, we have no control over that. And so we will go to acts and tasks that lead us to believe and feel like we're in control. So like the cleaning, the researching, that I just need to get more clarity, right? All the things to seek to gain a sense of control. And we'll find a gazillion excuses, all of them valid in our minds. All of them feel correct in our minds. And we'll also find that we'll start and stop. Some of you may be working on a book project or have been working on a book project for a while. Some of you may be at the beginning of your journey. Wherever you are on the spectrum, start paying attention to those times when you know you should be writing, you set out to write, and you'd allowed something else to consume your attention, your time, and your energy. Notice those moments of discomfort that come up that lead you to do something, anything else besides the writing that you know that you had intended to do, or that you're meant to be doing. Notice. Your body will signal it to you first before your mind, your body. The thing for many of us is that we are not so in tune with the signals and the sensations that our body sends us. But it's there. And when we start to tune in, we will notice. We'll notice the initial feelings and we'll notice the thoughts. We want to pay attention to them so that we can take power away from those thoughts so that they stop us from the act of active procrastination. So checking in and recognizing, being aware. In the times when I have tended to actively procrastinate, there's something happening in my chest. There's something happening in my heart space. There's a tinge of fear that comes up, just a little whisper. And when I tune into that, I recognize that that fear seeks to protect me. And when I lean in to understand what are you seeking to protect me from, we realize that often that feeling is old. It's not actually related to the writing itself. So there is sometimes some inner work that's necessary when the fear of fear of a rejection, fear of being seen, and imposter syndrome come up. Sometimes it's old. Sometimes it's old stuff. But we have to start recognizing it so that it stops having the hold that it's always had on us and we can get into the driving seat. Now, does it mean that we can never feel fearful? We should never feel fearful and we can only write well if we feel no fear? No. What's the saying? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Just ensure that fear is in the passenger seat and not in the driving seat. Fear can come along for the ride and say, look and watch what we are able to do. But we're just not allowing it to take control, to stop us. Some of the other things that I've noticed for myself and from clients, from writers, from fellow writers, is that due to fear of rejection, we may find that when we do write and when we finally get to the computer, the laptop, the page, however we're putting words down, we will write. But then we will find that we shrink in our writing. Our truest thoughts and feelings we may not put down. The depth of our voice, we may hold it back. We might find in the process of writing, we're editing ourselves before we're even putting the words down onto the page because of that doubt that comes up, because of those fears that arise, right? So not writing authentically, but maybe seeking to write like someone else, thinking I have to sound like so-and-so. I have to sound put together. I have to sound intellectual. I have to sound whatever it is that we've said we're supposed to sound like instead of sounding like ourselves. But there's something really powerful about allowing your voice to shine when you write, because you are putting part of yourself on the paper. And when you are thinking about being like someone else, you're robbing of the authenticity of what you have to share. So I encourage you, as you are on this writing journey, to write not with the critics in mind, not with reviewers in mind, not with your family and friends in mind, but with the heart, the mind, and the soul who is going to eventually pick up your book for the purpose you seek for it to fulfill in the world. That one person, just one. Thinking about that one life that you want to expand, or you want to inspire, you want to inform, whatever the purpose is for your book, that one mind, that one heart, that one soul, one. And thinking and remembering the impact you want to have remembering the purpose you want to serve and fulfill with that one person and grounding yourself there and speaking to them, speaking to their mind, speaking to their soul, speaking to their heart, speaking to them, just that one person. Because it's that one person who truly matters. The critics, family, friends, everyone else, co-workers, none of them matter. It's that one person who does matter. And as you're writing, visualize and picture that person, your words reaching that person and fulfilling the purpose that you seek for it to fulfill. Because there, your voice will be authentic. You'll speak to them and write for them as you, in the way only you can. In the way only you can. So you're not seeking to emulate and mimic, impersonate someone else. It's just you. Just you. Another issue I've seen with procrastination and fear of rejection is forcing yourself to try to structure your book and structure your chapters like a book that already exists, and feeling like that book is the model. Of course, there are structures that work. We understand that. However, when you are using a book that's already out there, that's already been edited, that's got its own set purpose and intention, and seeking to mirror your book off of that, you're truly robbing your book of the impact it can have as its own book, in its own right, in its own way. When we feel like an imposter, we feel like we have to mirror the success of others. But Allah created you uniquely, and your book is intended to be uniquely like it's meant to be for you, uniquely yours. So I know the habit we could have of reading books on our shelves, flicking through them to see how they're structured, to see how they're worded, to see the sentences, to see. But again, we're taking our attention away from the purpose we seek to fulfill, away from the heart we seek to bring, away from the voice that we seek to allow to rise from within us. Thank you for sharing it. You feel guilty. We have to allow ourselves to shine in our own right, in the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had decreed for us. Because He made you, you. And so each book, even you can get books on similar topics, they will all be different. And so allow yours to truly be yours, in your voice, in the structure that your book is meant to be. I know it's so challenging to not feel like, especially for your first book, to not feel like you need to model someone else. But I invite you to trust your gut on who your voice needs, right? Who your book needs, the voice your book needs, and how best to deliver that and share that with your reader. And notice I said reader, not readers, your reader. So we've talked a lot about some of the challenges of imposter syndrome. We've talked about what it looks like for some of us. Does anyone have, I'd love to know, does anyone have ways right now that you feel imposter syndrome or fear of rejection are showing up and holding you back from writing? I'd love for you to share either in the chat or feel free to unmute yourselves. How is it showing up for you? How is it currently holding back for you, from holding you back from getting to the first draft, the finish line of your book? Or even if you've finished writing maybe the first draft, moving it forward to the next stage, how is it holding you back? I'd love for you to get some shares before I tell you some other ways, because I know I've provided some solutions already, some other ways and other tools that we can use to be able to overcome imposter syndrome and fear of rejection. So who has some current challenges?
Assalamu alaikum, warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I just started a project just by chance, and I feel I'm going to let people down. It's a big thing, and there's kind of academics involved now, and it's not just me. Before it was just me. I have a book already. Before it was just me, so it could just be me. I'm letting myself down, or maybe some family. But now I feel there's so many, and I've pushed myself really hard. I did put myself through. What it is it's the 200th anniversary of the railway, and I was asked to interview some from Muslims in Rail, which is a non-profit, to interview Muslim employees from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We went to the House of Commons, and the day before, it was like, oh, would you mind facilitating the panel, hosting it? I said, yeah, sure. So there's no time to get scared. It went really well. And there and then I said, I'm going to write a book on the 24th of September. I announced it to this. There was a baroness there, a baroness of the, not that I'm into all that, but, and there was academics there. There was the chief executives of the LNER there, all these people. I thought, yeah, I have bipolar, so it's very high. I can do this. I'm brilliant. Right? Make this announcement. Then I thought, oh, what have I done? Right? On the way home, what have I done? And then it's the 200th anniversary. Then this railway podcast got in touch through Muslims in Rail. I did that with them. That's coming out. And I mentioned that to them as well. Haven't heard that yet. And in my bipolar brain, it was, I have to do this by December. How can you publish a really good book and have it proofread and formatted and go on Umrah and do it all and do the book? And then my cousin, so sweet, because he got me into this, he's like, he said, left me a voice note, and I was so calm after that. He said, "What? You can do this for Ramadan. We don't have to do this for the 200 for this year unless there's some pressing reason." And I was like, "There's no pressing reason. It's just the bipolar brain." I messaged my poor editor, and she messaged me back. She said, I don't know who's more relieved, me or you, because I think we might have either killed each other. She said something like that. She said, I think we might. She's worked with me before.
She was having a bit of a freak out too, right?
Yeah, but she's a very calm woman, right? She didn't let on. So that's me in a nutshell. It's just, I'm better now, but obviously now I'm calmer. But she said, we're still sticking to the deadline. We're not, when you have a longer deadline, then you sort of relax, don't you? Because then I put out on social media, yay, I can do a book in 60 days. Watch me, everyone. And it's like, I'm looking back at the TikTok and I'm like, if anyone looks at this later, it's like, oh yeah, she has bipolar. She has bipolar. You can tell if you know in advance, because you start repeating yourself and you think you're absolutely fantastic. And the next day, you can't get out of bed and brush your teeth. So it's just.
So you started this by saying letting people down. You opened by saying it's no longer just letting myself down. You're fearful of letting other people down. And I wonder what that particular framing does to your mind. Because the focus is letting down, as opposed to doing a darn good job. And so if you want to do a darn good job, focus on doing a darn good job. Don't worry about the how of it, because the how is with Allah. So recenter the intention of why. Okay, maybe it happened in a bit of a bipolar manic high. And so you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, halas. Now that you feel a bit grounded, reset an intention.
Yeah, I do.
What's the intention from now? Not from when I was super excited and I was surrounded by people, but what is the intention and the why now from that point now, from this point now? And take that to Allah.
I missed the beginning, sadly, because I'm not at home. And so I was accessing Wi-Fi. I'm in London at the moment. I live in Yorkshire now. So I did get what you said about this. See if I can get it right. This is not you. This is from Allah. And I think I've heard this on one of your stories on Instagram before as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's what I need to hang on to, and that's what I should be doing.
There we
This
go.
is not from me.
Exactly. And so the anchoring here and the grounding is in Allah. The outcome of being able to smash that deadline is never with you anyway, it's with Allah, right? The outcome of the ability to put each word in front of the other is not even from you, it's from Allah. All the tawfiq is from Allah. The outcome, the success, the accolade, if any of that comes, all from Allah. The idea, the seed was from Allah. So centering yourself and grounding yourself in the fact that this is not about me, but my intention is to do a darn good job. When you have the focus on doing a darn good job, instead of how do I not let people down, your attention will shift because you get what you focus on. And right now, your mind is framed on focusing on not letting down. And side note, the unconscious mind does a very, very poor job of processing negatives. So when we're saying, oh, I don't want to let them down, I don't want to flop, I don't want to, the brain is like, okay, so she wants to. And that's what it focuses on. And that's where you get the rise of fear a little bit more, because the unconscious mind does a very poor job of processing negatives. So frame the mind in terms of what do you want to do? And that's why I said doing a darn good job. But whatever resonates for you, whatever feels powerful and empowering and motivating for you, that's what I want you to center yourself on, because you will get what you focus on. And so focus on what you want. Focus on how you want to show up. Focus on the impact you want to make, and have dua, like root all of that in dua. Take all of the fears that you might have, take it to Allah and hand it over to Allah in dua, and know that He's got your back. And whatever will be, but you've got to put the effort in.
That's brilliant. Just one quick thing is, when I wrote my first book with Naima, it was like, there's a mean girl on my shoulder and she won't leave me alone, right? First, there's that internal edit. There's the editor who won't stop editing, and you want to do your first draft and not edit. And then there's this other little mean girl from childhood. And now I'm working with Khalila Lister. On our last call with Mariam, she got us to reframe, and she said, call that imposter or whatever, give him a name, and then say, be quiet. And then I gave mine just Karen. I said, shut up, Karen. I can do this.
Do you know what? I have a different view on that. And that view is valid, I think, in some circles. I have a different approach. My approach to that is, there's a message that mean girl, and I'd rather not call her mean, but there's a message and there's a need that part of you needs. And so when we say shut up, we're probably only mirroring experiences that she had in the past, when she was told to shut up, when she was told not to listen, when she was told that she doesn't need to be heard, especially if we come from families and backgrounds and cultures where it was best for us to be seen but not heard. And so we're only just perpetuating her need to rise stronger in her meanness, which is just a mask for, I have needs to be seen. I have needs to be heard. I have needs here, but you keep rejecting me, and I'm going to come harder and stronger. So how about playing around with the idea of, you know what? I know you have needs, and I know you're trying to protect me from something, but I'm adult Samina now. I've got this. I can do it. I know that you've got fears. and you've got worries, I'm adult Samina now, and we can ride strong. We can do great things
That's
because
so beautiful.
that part of you that part of you is a younger part, and she has needs, but every time you shut her down she rises stronger. You know, like when we're children who are like, I'm gonna prove to you, she's trying to prove it. So work with her, not against her. That's my
Thank you
tip.
so much. That was
That's
really
my tip.
beautiful.
Thank you
Can I
so
go
much,
next?
Samina. It's lovely hearing your shares and your thoughts. Karen, I can see your hand up.
Yeah. Okay. So you know
Oh,
what?
sorry about that, Karen. I didn't mean to call you out.
It's okay.
Oh, well, you know what? That's Allah's the best of plans. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, first of all. And I was going to come on here to say what my son said to me. But before I do that, I want to mention that one of the things that I told him was that I was going to talk about the name Karen. And and let it be known that um I don't have it in front of me. I'm going to try to go by memory, but I wrote some things down to say Karen is not the mean, sorry to say this, but it's like the mean white girl bully. She is the Muslimah that's kind, that's generous, and that's caring. So I feel like Samina, what she said about the name Karen is confirmation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for me to go ahead and write about that and reclaim, because what I told him was that I was going to reclaim my name. And I'll try to find what he said to me. Let me see what he said to me about that. Hold on, because I wanted to tell you something else he said about me. So he said, "You are the Karen you made with your life choices and decisions. That is why Allah says each of us is responsible for ourselves. You don't need to distinguish yourself from the general term Karen because it has nothing to do with you. You are
Mm.
bringing up the name of people. Can you tell me about them? And the ways in which they communicate without a copy and paste. You aren't even using your own words," he says, "to express your feelings and points. Because I made write what I'm saying into an app so it can say it better for me. So that's one of the things that he said about me when I said that I was going to reclaim the name Karen. Then he said to me, he said, you are going to share your messages with others. Hold on, wait, because I just lost what he said to me. Okay, he said, uh hold on. I just lost it. I'm trying to find it in my text messages. He said, if you really want to affect people, I suggest listening to Muslim women speak coming from the heart. Your messages are rooted in ego and the need to be seen, known, recognized. They are not rooted in what Allah values. Allah does not want you to be entitled because you own nothing in the first place, not even words. And I call him my second heartbeat because I told him when you were inside of my body, your heart was beating inside of my body along with my heart. So that's why I say, you are my second heartbeat. And then he says, you don't need to be known to have impact. Allah already knows you, your intentions, your efforts, your prayers, your sacrifices. Recognition from people is not what gives you your words weight. Sincerity does. You can carry your message with Isan and adab firmly, clearly, and beautifully without needing to assert yourself, argue for validation, or draw attention to who is speaking. Truth is strong on its own. When your voice is delivered with grace, free of ego, free of arrogance, it lands deeper. You're not diminished by remaining unseen. You're elevated by being sincere. Many of the most powerful women in our tradition moved quietly, but the effect of their words, wisdom, and presence stretched across generations. Being unknown does not make you less. Being humble does not make you silent. It simply means the message matters more than the messenger. And that is a form of strength Allah Himself raises. You cannot rebuild and inform without tearing down what doesn't work. You have to also assess what kind of attention you want to receive. You should seek constructive criticism, not tearing down or belittling. Because I told him, I said, you're tearing me down and you're belittling me. And I am talking about myself. My story is my testimony. And I've been through so much darkness and so much that a lot of people say you need to tell your testimony, because every time something happened to me, just for a quick example, I was forced to leave my 33 years of federal service because of how I was being treated. And I felt my faith in Allah, and I quit. And so I didn't have anything to fall back on, no money, no nothing, only my faith in Allah. And He was there. He was there for me. And every time I'm going through darkness, He's there for me. He protects me, He provides me, He cares for me. He does it all. And my son told me that I'm doing this to be seen, that it's my ego. I'm not supposed to talk about myself. He says,
Sorry, Karen. I just
yes,
want to take a moment and allow you to take a moment to breathe.
okay. Yeah, because I'm sure you can tell or you can hear it in my
Yeah,
voice
this
that
and
it's making me.
I can tell that you're at the beginning of the journey, and there's something that would be maybe really, really helpful as you navigate the beginning of the journey. It sounds like you've been through a tumultuous ride, and as you are navigating writing your book, it would be helpful possibly for you to have a separate journal or a separate space where you are offloading, similar to the way that you're doing today, because it sounds as if your heart needs it, so that the strength of your voice for your book is the strongest that you can be, given the message without excuse me, without dilution and without with the strength of the message that you want to and seek to share. Apologies, I've got cats. One of my cats is a bit of a cuckoo. So I would encourage you to have a separate journal, a separate document where you are doing what we call offload writing, cathartic writing, where you are allowing yourself to heal through some of the maybe experiences that you've had, and then you can bring what you need to, and the voice and the story and the strength that you need to into your writing. But don't do them at the same time. Right? Do them separately at separate times. Have them at in separate writing times. But I do want to, Fatima, thank you so much for sharing, Karen. It sounds like you've got such a powerful purpose to reclaim your name, Allahu Akbar, to reclaim your name and to do that for you first and foremost, because of the way your name has sadly been tainted and used, and it's used casually in the world and in conversation and in especially in the online world. But I want to take us through some of the solutions that I have with regards to overcoming imposter syndrome, and also being able to think about how we can do our best to bring fear along for the ride and not allow it to get in the way of us writing. Number one, a question we can ask ourselves is, whose judgment matters most to me? As you are penning your book, when imposter syndrome comes up or fear of judgment rises, ask yourself, whose judgment matters most to me. And we know truly it's Allah, meaning that we want Allah to be pleased with us. We want Allah to be pleased with us. And so by shrinking, am I really bringing the best of myself, the best of my work, the best of what I have to offer? Am I really bringing that? Would Allah be pleased with me shrinking? In this moment where I'm choosing to actively procrastinate, would Allah be pleased with me and not keeping to my word to put words down for this book? And when I'm thinking about what other people will think, does that really matter? If through this work, I have a means and an opening for Allah to be pleased with me, does it really matter what other people think? Does it really matter what other people say? And like I said right at the beginning, we want to also go back to basics. When we're in the thick of writing our book, or we've started a particular chapter or whatever it might be, we can lose sight of the North Star. The North Star starts to dim a little bit, gets clouded by those fears, by that imposter syndrome story. We want to allow that North Star to shine by reminding ourselves of why. If you don't have a visual anchor in the place that you write the most, and I know we all have different setups, but in the place that you write the most, if you don't have a visual anchor of what your why is, excuse me, then I encourage you to create one, to put one there for yourself. And for everyone, the visual anchor will look different. It might be typed up words or handwritten reminder of what our why is. It could be a particular photograph. It could be the image of something that induces the feeling that reminds us of why. Whatever your visual anchor is, I encourage you to place a visual anchor as a reminder of why you are doing this. And a reminder that Allah chose you. Allah chose you. He planted the seed in you. He planted the inspiration in you. You didn't choose yourself. Allah chose you. And what is it that you want to say to him when you return to him? Allah, you chose me, and I chose to rise to the occasion. I chose to answer the call. I chose to accept the invitation. That's what we want to say. So have a visual reminder, a visual anchor of that why, and that Allah has chosen you. Another tool, when it comes to writing, check in with your state, your emotional state. Check in with your body. Check in with what you're feeling, and check in with the thoughts that are in your mind. Like I said to Samina, if your focus is on failing, and if your focus is on letting someone down, if your focus is on not doing a good job, if your focus is on, I can't do it, if your focus is on anything that's negative, unresourceful, then that's going to seep into your writing, and is going to impact if you do or don't write, or if you're going to actively procrastinate like you have done time and time again. Okay, so check in with your state. What are you focusing on here? How's your body, right? If you're slumped over, physiologically, you're not in the best physical form to write your best work. Straighten your shoulders, like roll them back. Put your chest just 2 millimeters, just 2 millimeters forward. Deep breath, have your diaphragm expanded, open, and write from this posture. And I invite you now to just, whatever position you're in, just to even sit like this now. Shoulders back, chest forward, rib cage open. How does that feel? That feels powerful. For me, when I sit like that, I feel a surge of energy running through me. Now imagine you're sitting, you start, of course, you may not be able to sit like that as you're writing the entire time, but you enter into the state of writing in this form physiologically, audibly enter with a Bismillah on your tongue, that will do something for that writing session. The voice of doubt, you're sending it away. You're saying that I have arrived. I am here, I am ready, and I'm going to put words down, and I'm going to do this by Allah's grace and his permission. So check in with your emotional state, how you're using your body specifically, and what thoughts you're telling yourself and what you're focusing on. Another tool is a pre-writing mantra. So as we've done the body, we've done all of that, but also just thinking and saying out loud, this isn't about me. This is not about me. It's not about me. For me, saying it's not about me was a thing that allowed me to actually take the steps to put my book into the world, because I had at some point made it about me. But when we decenter ourselves, decenter our ego, and remember it's not about me, it's about the impact, it's about the possibilities, it's about the openings, it's about the healings, it's about the whatever the purpose we seek to fulfill through our book, then we realize that it's not about what people think about us, it's about the work we get to do, the calling we've been invited on, the journey Allah has beckoned us to go on through this book, and who we get to evolve as in the journey. Because in the process of writing, we will shift and expand and evolve ourselves. We will grow. We will grow. And the last, but not the least powerful, in fact, it is the most powerful tool of all the things that I've said. This is the most powerful, and that is dua. Dua. Asking Allah to make you sincere. Asking him to remove your ego from the picture. Asking him to strengthen your voice. Asking him to guide your words. Asking him to support you and help you to put one word in front of the other that will be of benefit. Asking him to bless your pen. Asking him to guide you in writing what pleases him. Dua is the most underrated tool for us as writers. And in making dua, we remember that it was and is always about Allah, and it's only by Allah. It's only by Allah. Only by Allah. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for your questions, for sharing. If anyone has any final thoughts, questions, comments, please do share. Please raise your hand. We have got 6 minutes. In my mindset sessions, I usually do have some time for coaching. We've had less time for coaching, but I really felt like we needed to explore this, unpack this a little bit more than just a 10-minute reminder. I want to just scroll up because I saw some comments earlier. I'm second guessing the value of what I want to share, if my writing is good enough. Mariam K, yes, you're still here. When I say decenter yourself, when I say remember it's not about you, when I say it's about Allah and what he can do through you, how does that land in your body? How does that land for you? You feel lighter. And I want you to remember this. So if that's a mantra that can be helpful for you, again, maybe as a visual anchor, but if it can be if it's a reminder that's beneficial for you, I encourage you to take it and run with it. It's not about me, it's about Allah. and pair that regularly with dua. That Allah help me to make this not about me. Grant me tawfiq in setting my ego aside. Ya Allah, you have sent me on this, you have sent me with this trust. You have entrusted me with this story, Ya Rabbi. Give me the tawfiq and give me, and this is something that I personally love to ask. Give me all that I need internally to do this in a way that's pleasing to you and with ihsan. So when you decenter yourself and center Allah, it's a game changer. And I would say that a lot of our internal struggles with writing is because the ego has got involved. So when we put the ego aside, when we set the ego aside, subhanallahi wa bihamdi, and we center Allah, we ground ourselves in Allah, we anchor ourselves in Allah, that sets all of the syndromes, all of the fears, allows them to sit down, because we're telling them that we've got this. We've got this because our Lord has got us. We've got this because our Lord has got us, and it's by his tawfiq anyway. And like Naima says, yes, we have a mindset session every month. If you're part of the release program, you're welcome to join, encouraged, in fact, to join every single month. We have a mindset session and different topics each month. And we typically have a lot more coaching involved in our mindset sessions every month. But it's been amazing. It's been amazing having you here, especially our guests, having you here as part of our workshop today. Naima, did you have any words, anything that you want to say as we wrap up?
Just to say a huge jazakallah khairan to you, my dear. You always bring it, alhamdulillah. And it is a pleasure to host your mindset sessions every month. And these mindset sessions are primarily for our release clients, because we know how important the mind is in the whole process of writing a book. But this is the first time we've opened it out to guests, so I'm really happy that we had, I think about 10 ladies bought tickets, and they'll get their recordings after this. And if they loved this, then they are more than welcome to buy a ticket for next month's session. And of course, if anybody actually wants to find out more about release and join the actual program itself, all you need to do is send me an email or a DM on Instagram, and we'll have a chat. But jazakallah khairan, Coach Layinka. We appreciate your insights, and as always, holding us with love and care and firmness, alhamdulillah. And we will look forward to our session with you next week. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.